Hello Scorpios, and welcome to your August 2021 mid-month check-in. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded, generalized perspective. And if you're interested in a more personalized reading to you and your situation, just check out the description box below for links to my website and my Etsy shop. But let's go ahead and begin. The first card we have here is Seeing the True You, and what really stands out to me is the water element. So I'm not sure if you have been contemplating or have started out looking for your personal connection with water, the water element, and how to incorporate the water element in your spiritual practice, in your healing journey, or just in your everyday life. I do feel that this is coming through. There's something about the water element or the power or healing properties or the properties in general of water that is coming through as far as how to connect to this aspect of yourself, connect to a part of yourself that either you have long dismissed or you have sort of generalized in a way that you've been passive about recognizing this aspect of yourself. And if water element is part of your personal practice in some facet, this is a sign to deepen that, look towards finding ways that you can kind of enhance or deepen that connection, because there is a link with water and some aspect of you, who you are, your personal journey, your position here in life, on this particular journey, this path, this lifetime, your present life experience. So there's definitely a connection with water and an element of who you are, the truth of who you are, a connection to you and your true self, most authentic self. We have Four of Cups following that, and I feel like this is really coming in strong with an element of having to come to terms with elements of yourself as far as where you have brought yourself to who you are right now, and maybe elements of who you left behind in the process. So we go through time periods in our life where we continue to adapt to our situations or our circumstances, the requirements of life in general, of adulthood, expectations, however that may apply. But in the process of making those adaptations so that we can fit in accordingly, sometimes we manage to disconnect or at least stifle parts of ourself that we wouldn't have had it been in different circumstances or had we been experiencing different situations. And so I feel like the Four of Cups is bringing that to light. There are elements of yourself that during your personal growth up to this point in your life, you have sort of negated or dismissed or just kind of become disconnected with, and that part of you is calling you to reconnect, to reestablish a connection, because it's a part of you that is a part of your most authentic version of yourself. And if you can connect with that, not only can you heal parts of yourself that you feel has been feeling hollow, but in accepting and embracing these aspects of yourself, you essentially become more whole. It doesn't mean that you have to disregard or let go of aspects of who you have become now, but trying to find how you can marry what is and what you have left behind is kind of what's coming through. We have the Devil cards coming up next. And I find it interesting in this particular image, right away, what's being pointed out to me is the separation that's happening. And I feel like that's coming in with that concept of separation that you felt you had to have of elements of yourself versus who you became to fulfill whatever it is that you needed to fulfill to get you to this point in your life. But how you're kind of, like I said, there's a sense of feeling hollow or feeling like that aspect, something's missing, and you've been wanting to reconnect with this aspect of yourself that has kind of grown fainter and fainter with time. The more you are kind of feeding this version of yourself, now it's sort of creating a disconnect. And like I said, the voice of elements of yourself from your past have become more and more faint. And this disconnect is what you're struggling with, because you've reached a point where you realize that you wish you hadn't let that part of yourself go. You wish you hadn't disconnected from this aspect of yourself, even if it was an accidental disconnect, even if it was just something that happened organically or naturally. You're kind of yearning for that aspect of yourself to be awakened, to be alivened, to sort of kind of rise to the surface more. And so the overall message is that instead of focusing on the fact that you're separated from this element of yourself that you want to give rise and give life to, don't focus on the fact that you're separated. Focus on the fact that this part of you is still alive. It just needs to be nurtured. It just needs to have the light shine on it so that it can be awakened and it can be given life. You can breathe life in it. You can breathe life into it. You can give it the growth and fertile ground that it needs. All you have to do is really sit down and recognize that this is what you want. All you have to do is just realize that you are saddened by this disconnect and you want to reconnect with it. There's no need to get hung up on the fact that this aspect of yourself has been left behind in however many years it has been since you have connected with this aspect. You don't need to focus on that. What you need to focus on is the fact that it's still alive and well, even if it is a bit buried. You just have to dig it out, shine some light on it, give it the healing life and water and nurturing that it needs to bring it back to life and allow it to rise up within you and marry who you are with who that aspect of yourself is. The King of Wands is really coming through with an element of transformation. It's coming through with that. Again, marrying that aspect of yourself of what you feel like you've left behind, but it's still alive and well within you. It just needs to be, awakened and given space to rise. And how that, if you marry the two, the inner strength that's going to be externalized as a result of that, the transformation that's going to happen as a result of it. I'm getting, even though there's a lion in this particular imagery, I'm getting phoenix kind of energy with this whole rising from the ashes, coming forth with something new, but it still has the old with it. It's this emergence, the marry. Again, the word marry comes into play. You don't have to separate. You can become one. You can merge who you are with the rising of this aspect of yourself, the nurturing of this aspect of yourself. We're finishing with the Star card, and I feel like this is really pulling in that element of shining brightly, shining light on who you are, shining brightly as far as all the elements of who you are now. And just giving space and making it so that the element of who you were that you want to nurture can rise to the surface and shine as well. And you can tap into what you need for the guiding light for this. And so if you have a spiritual practice, you can tap into what it takes to give rise to this aspect of yourself. You can look to them for guidance, for allowing this to come to the surface. And whenever I see this Star card, I'm really tapping into the Star from Tarot, even though this is an oracle card, but I really feel like that this is heavy vibes of that whole North Star, guarding light. If you think of this as a shooting star, it's also kind of coming in this imagery like shooting star as in making a wish. But this is something that is the energy to make this happen is available to you through this mid-month mark. So the energy of making this transition, tapping into this aspect of yourself, giving it space so that it can grow and you can marry who you are with this element of yourself that once was. All of this is available to you. And returning to this particular card as far as seeing the true you and how I felt like there was heavy water vibes coming through with that, I feel like that's can be your source of connection. If you have a personal practice or spiritual practice, the water element and how you can tap into that might be your gateway. It can be the element that allows you to begin that process or enhance that process if you've already started it. Again, what's interesting too, the fact that this came through as the Star card. The Star card is linked with the Aquarius sign in tarot, and the Aquarius sign is the water barrier. Even though it's an air sign, it is the air, it's the water barrier. It has to do with refreshing, cleansing, and the healing that comes when you have that refreshing element, that cleansing, so that you can be refreshed element, and your perspective as a result of it. So this feels like it's all kind of coming in with that, again, that water connection and what is available to you through the water connection, as far as how you can grow, how you can cleanse yourself and make it so that you can create space so that this element of yourself can rise to the surface. But heavy water energy is coming through as far as this particular reading. So I feel like if you take anything from this, find a means of tapping into your connection with water and how it can help you as you move through whatever it is that you're moving through and expanding and growing in whatever direction you're expanding and growing. All right, Scorpios, that is all I have for you for this mid-month check-in. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded general perspective. And if you want something that's a bit more personalized to you and your situation, just check out the link box below for links to my website and my Etsy shop. Other than that, have a fabulous rest of your month of August, and I will see you in a future video.